I'm Matt Koch, F1 editor for Speedcafe, here previewing this weekend's Formula One United States Grand Prix from the Circuit of Americas. It's been a few weeks since the Singapore Grand Prix, and a lot has changed in the world of Formula One. Perhaps most high profile of that has been that Daniel Ricciardo is no longer on the grid. He's been removed, and in his place is Liam Lawson at RB. He makes his return to the Formula One grid for the first time in over a year. He had a 5-race cameo last year in place of Daniel Ricciardo while he was injured with a broken hand, but he's now got his chance to stake his claim for a seat full time. So far, he's only had his 2024 season confirmed, but he will be in the car for 2025. The question is, which car will it be, the Red Bull Racing or the RB? That's what the next 6 races are all about, as Red Bull looks to the future beyond Sergio Perez and perhaps even beyond Max Verstappen. Speaking of Max Verstappen, he continues to lead the Drivers' Championship. He's got a 52-point advantage over Lando Norris, rather. That's an advantage that has eroded, but looks to be stabilizing to an extent. Max is now in a position where he can trail Norris every event to Abu Dhabi and win the championship. And that was a point that happened in Singapore. That was actually the point that Daniel Ricciardo's fastest lap made possible. So it's a slight change in that structure, but one that could reap huge returns for Max, because it does make Lando's job a little bit more difficult. That said, McLaren remains the car to beat. It continues to lead the Constructors' Championship. It's got a 41-point advantage over Red Bull, who, in theory, looks more vulnerable to slipping to third than it does in catching McLaren for first. There's 34 points between Red Bull in second and Ferrari in third. Red Bull does have an upgrade this weekend, and it's targeted to address the weaknesses that have been in the car, but why this upgrade and why not earlier upgrades remains to be seen. We'll only start to get a picture of whether that's accurate once the cars get out on track. And when they do, what do we expect? Well, McLaren looks to be the car to beat once again. Red Bull does have that upgrade, and then we've got Mercedes and Ferrari knocking on the door once again. Further down the field, we've got Haas, which this weekend has Toyota backing, courtesy of a new partnership with the Japanese manufacturer. That's a technical collaboration. It's not actually a financial deal. It's not Haas moving away from Ferrari and joining Toyota. From a technical sense, it's just supplementing what Haas does. So some new support there for Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hülkenberg. That will play out a little bit longer term. Look at things like simulators and some manufacturing capability and also testing of previous cars, something that Haas to this point just hasn't had the capacity to do. So there's some interesting things coming on the horizon in the future for Haas. In the meanwhile, we've got a sprint weekend at the United States Grand Prix. So a single hour of practice. We've then got sprint shootout, which is a sprint qualifying, I think of it. And then the sprint itself, we then go into the traditional format of qualifying and the race. It's also at a slightly better time for us here in Australia. If you are on the Eastern Coast, the race on Sunday morning, well, Monday morning for us really, is starting at 6 a.m.